Hello, I'm Robin Oliver with the Imaging Center of Eastern Oklahoma, and I have recently gotten a lot of questions about thermography. What is it? Um, how does it help? What can it see? What are the benefits? And so I thought I'd just do a short video, hopefully it won't be too long, and answer a few of your questions and just kind of explain everything about it that I can. And so to do that, I looked at some websites to try to find some easy explanations. And a few of the things that I found were here's one explanation or one meaning. Thermography is the measurement of temperature variations at the body surface. Changes in temperature indicate disease process. And so I think probably most everybody knows that if there is something going on that produces heat, it could be infection. I mean, just think about your child when they have the flu or they have like an ear infection. They may be running temperature, or you can put your hand over their ear and feel heat from their ear, or your dog. I know I do that with my dog sometimes. If they're scratching at their ear, I feel their ear and know that they've got something going on in their ear. Um, it can do inflammation. So if you think of people that have arthritis in their joints, sometimes they're hotter than one joint may be hotter, or their knees are hot compared to the rest of their body. So those are two ways. Cancer is also another way. It is cancer cells need oxygen-rich blood to grow, and so what happens is as the cancer cells are multiplying, the oxygen-rich blood flow is also growing, and that produces heat, and so there's heat there with cancer cells growing. One meaning that I found was the science of thermography is the application of these heat readings to locate abnormal pathology or function in the body. Okay, so that's kind of self-explanatory. It's said that Socrates used to put mud, wet mud, or I guess mud is wet, but mud on his clients, and he would spread it out on them wherever there was something going on, and whatever area dried first was the area he knew something was wrong, because that was the area that had more heat to it. My chiropractor actually uses an instrument, and I don't know what it's called, but it's like a little box, and it has a gauge on it that's a temperature reading, and it has two prongs with like ball bearings on the end of them, and he runs it down both sides of my spine, and anywhere there is a change in one side or the other, that little gauge flops and tells him, and he'll mark it, and that way he adjusts only that area of my back, not my whole spine all willy-nilly. He gets whatever is out of whack by using that instrument because it shows him where there's more heat produced. And so when I heard about thermography, that's what I thought of him. And I thought, well, if he's using that and it actually works because he's done wonders with my back, I thought, well, maybe there's something to this. And I started researching and I found out a lot about it and decided to open an office in Poto. And so now I have, I'm slowly growing and getting the word out, and I have more people wondering, what in the world am I doing? So I will tell you, I graduated nursing school in 1985, and so I moved to Oklahoma in 2004, and we've been here. I've done different things, but as of now, and what I hope to be doing for the rest of my working life is helping others and helping any way that I can by I have exercise classes here that are free on Wednesdays. We do free education for the community. I have one coming up on the 27th that's keto, not keto, it's about diets. And it's called, I have a naturopath doctor coming in to talk from Ada, and it's called Decoding Diets. What's digestion got to do with it? And she'll talk all about digestion and your health of your gut and those kind of things. I promise you it'll be very interesting. It's open to the public. It's 6 o'clock next Wednesday here at my office. But so just a little plug for that, because I want anybody that's interested in getting healthier and learning more to be able to have access to that information. So anyway, we'll go back to thermograms. Today, there are more sophisticated computer-assisted instruments and cameras that measure the infrared heat that radiates from our skin. Everybody has infrared heat that radiates from their skin. And these cameras compare the temperature from one side of the body to the other. You should have essentially the same blood supply to identical body parts, so like your right hand and your left hand, or your right leg and your left leg, that should have the identical relatively identical blood supply. So the temperature should be about the same on both sides. And a variance of more than 3/10 of a degree from one side to the other when comparing them is significant. So that's what we're looking at. We're looking at a change in the temperature. And I'm not actually looking for it. I'm taking the images and sending them to a doctor. But I'll get into that later. Okay, so let's look at breast cancer, for instance. As cancer cells, like I said, as they multiply, they need oxygen-rich blood to grow. And when blood flow to the tumor increases, the temperature around it rises. So the more vascular the area becomes, the hotter the area becomes because there's more heat generated. And this is the premise behind the possibility of earlier detection from thermograms in breast cancer. Some say that you can detect breast cancer as early as 7 to 8 years before you'll ever feel a lump, before anything will show up on mammography. So that in itself is enough for me to want to have thermograms. We do not promote them as in lieu of mammograms, so we don't say, yes, have thermograms and don't have mammograms. Statistically, research says that they are both about the same in accuracy of detecting possible breast cancer. Mammograms, of course, are the standard of care for breast cancer detection because they have the backing of the medical community and they have the research behind them. They are better at seeing a tumor and its location than a thermogram. They are not so good when it comes to, like, if you have dense breasts or people with breast implants. There is a high incidence of overdiagnosis, which means women and men are often subjected to more mammograms, even invasive biopsies, just to find out that there's nothing really there. So that's mammograms and the positive and negative of them. Thermograms do not see structure, so they cannot see where a tumor is. It cannot see bone. It's not going to see a fluid-filled cyst. It's not going to see the actual tumor that does not produce heat at the skin level. So it's not going to see lung cancer. It's not going to see anything in the brain. So some people call and say, hey, I have this. I think I have whatever kind of tumor. And depending on what you think you have as to whether it produces heat at the skin, that's what I tell everybody. If it does not produce heat at the skin level, thermogram is not going to help you. So if heat or coolness is picked up on the skin when you have a thermogram, that means something is going on, whether it's a coolness could mean nerve blocks, vascular insufficiency, as in like somebody who is a diabetic may have cooler legs and something going on, and you could pick that up early. It's great for looking for the heat that's produced by inflammation, infection, or cancer cells multiplying. Plus, like I said before, dense breasts are not an issue. It's also very good for young women who are exposed to year after year mammograms because they have a family history of breast cancer. And so instead of doing that year after year, they can have thermograms and they're not exposed to the radiation. So, but also, I know there are people out there who are just over the mindset, I'd rather not have anything than to have a mammogram because I'm not going to have a mammogram and get exposed to radiation. So if you're that case, a thermogram is great for you because it's perfectly safe. It doesn't produce radiation. It's painless, and the entire procedure is not invasive. So that's a little bit about what it is. Now, statistically, mammograms and thermograms are about 83 to 85% accurate. Each one of them. Doesn't matter which one you choose. They're both about the same from the research that I found. And like I said, or I don't think I said it, but like you can find whatever you want to on the internet. If you go looking hard enough, you're going to find the information you want to find. But most everything I read said thermograms and mammograms are 83 to 85% accurate when used alone. But when used in conjunction with each other, that accuracy actually goes up to 95 to 98%, which in my mind is pretty stinking good. I mean, you can't get much closer than to 100%. So let me give you an example of what would be an inaccurate mammogram. Say you go in and you have a suspicious mammogram. They want to do another mammogram, of course, and it may even be a 3D mammogram. They want to do another mammogram because they think they see something. This leads to more tests and maybe even a possible biopsy. And then the result of that could be it was just a calcification. It could be something that was never going to turn into cancer. So this would have shown like calcification would not have shown up on a thermogram. So the thermogram would have been normal just because that it was not going to produce heat. So if you have a suspicious mammogram and then you have a thermogram that is negative, it's more than likely you can assume that it's not cancer. But your doctor, of course, is going to guide you in that and tell you where you need to go with that, because cancer cells should be producing heat, and so if it's cancer, it should show up with a thermogram. But on the other hand, a thermogram may show heat for someone who has mastitis, which of course is not going to be cancer. But when you have a thermogram, what you do is we do a thermogram, then 3 months later we do if you have the whole body thermogram, 3 months later we do a breast thermogram, because we want to make sure that there's no change in the breast fingerprint, thermal fingerprint. And if there is a change from the initial thermogram to the one that's done 3 to 4 months later, then it is recommended to have another one in 3 months. But also, sometime during that time, you need to have some further workup, because if there's a change, it needs to be followed, probably with a mammogram, however you or your physician choose to follow up with it. So, I do want to say that the FDA has approved thermogram to be used in conjunction with mammograms, not instead of. There is not enough research for thermograms to be considered the standard of care in the United States, but other countries it's used, a lot of other countries it is used as the standard, and but we just are not there yet. So you can always have thermograms just to decrease the number of mammograms you have. If you are determined that you need to have, you do need to have mammograms, but this can help you not to be exposed to so many mammograms. The best time to have a thermogram is before anything is wrong. Thermograms are looking for changes over time. Sort of like the wellness people that come around in their town and they have a van or whatever they're set up in, and they do all these screenings for to see if you've got an aortic aneurysm or what's going on. Thermograms are kind of like that, only we're right here at your back door if you live anywhere close to Poto. And because your thermal fingerprint, which is the temperature of your skin, should remain relatively constant throughout your adult life. So routine thermograms will look for change over time. So if you start having routine thermograms, once your thermal fingerprint starts to change, your routine thermograms are compared to each other, and they will be if something is going on, it will be picked up early. So that way, picked up early enough, you can make adjustments to your lifestyle. You can change the way you eat. You can stop smoking. You can start exercising. Any bad habits, those kind of things can be done to try to reverse what is going on in your body. Nutrition is probably the number one thing that you can look at to change and help to reverse disease processes that are starting to flare up in your body. So anyway, once you have a thermogram, your images are sent to a board-certified MD or DO who is trained in thermology, and then you get a report back within usually 24 to 72 hours. That report is actually written from physician to a physician, so there's a lot of stuff in there that you won't understand, but you can take it to your doctor. If you have a thermogram somewhere and it's not with us, that's fine. I just recommend that you have them. Please ask who's going to read the images, because I'm not saying an x-ray technician can't read an x-ray, but you wouldn't want them to be giving you the results of your x-ray. So you really don't want a thermogram technician to be reading the results of your thermogram. So, and moving on, insurance. Does insurance pay for it? That's probably the first question I get asked every time. Insurance does not pay for it in the state of Oklahoma. There are a few states that it will pay for it. I've had people turn it into their health savings accounts, and that will pay for it. So if you look around, I'm probably close to half, I don't know, 40% less than most people that do thermograms. If you look around in this area, well, there's not really anybody in this area, but if you look around at anywhere else that I've seen, my thermograms start at 125 and the highest one is 225. So anyway, I think that is about it. That's about all. Thanks for watching. Have a great evening. Oh, look at here. I have more to read. No, I don't. Anyway, that's it. I'm sorry about that. I saw some more stuff down there. And I was like, oh, I'm not reading that. Anyway, have a great weekend. God bless.